What's going on, everyone? So one of the things that From was kind of building towards was the potential of Tabitha being a reincarnated version of Miranda. They really kind of alluded to that, or the potential that she was Eloise, which I also think is odd. They still have not confirmed Eloise alive or dead. Victor kind of tiptoed around that, but that's neither here nor there. What we got was confirmation that Tabitha is officially the reincarnated version of Miranda, and that she, and as well as Jade, were a couple many moons ago when this place was first, conceptualized, right? When it first came to be, and they had a daughter, which was the little girl that you saw kneel in front of Tabitha. That was their daughter back when this place first became, and all the children were sacrificed and all of that. So Tabitha being the reincarnated version and having the memories of Miranda and various others, right? That's what the Ankui meant, was to remember. And now she remembers. It's why she was having flashbacks and memories of Miranda and like the night she died. It was like, okay, is this just, her being a chosen one and having these visions? Is FROMVILLE giving these visions? Like, what is it? Well, we got the confirmation that no, really, it's memories from Miranda. Well, since she has memories for Miranda, does that mean that she has memories of Victor as a child? Does that mean that they will have... Because Tabitha's always had this connection to Victor, right? From the very beginning. Jim thought he was some weird, creepy guy that, and Tabitha was always very welcoming, always very warming towards Victor. And, a lot of it was just, okay, she sees and understands that, he's harmless. Right? He grew up in this place, right? He has a childlike mentality, but he's really harmless. He's not trying to hurt anybody, not trying to harm anybody. He just never got to develop and grow as you would in a regular place, right? So there was kind of that justification of why Tabitha always kind of had that connection to Victor in a lot of ways, and was so accepting towards Victor and kind towards Victor. Her being a mother herself, right? So it wasn't something that was really originally kind of questionable. It was kind of just like, okay, that makes sense, right? But now that we have the information that we have, it does beg the question of, one, what does this do for Tabitha and Victor's relationship? And two, how does this affect Victor? Right? How does Victor take that Tabitha is the reincarnated version of his mother? And then also, again, if Tabitha has these memories and these visions of Victor and Miranda, right? That means she has probably some of the emotion, some of the connectability, some of the, the love that Miranda had for Victor. I do think that could be a very interesting point to kind of play into in season 4. And then also, again, how does Victor kind of handle that news, handle that information? Right? Does he just completely not accept it? Does he look at it as there's no way, this is crazy, right? Does he kind of embrace Tabitha as almost like I have my mother, right? I can feel my mother, right? Also Victor, you see, is really broken up and feels like he's responsible for his mother's death. Well, if he can kind of not directly talk to his mother, but Tabitha, I do think, could give him some real comfort in that regard, right? I think Tabitha could give him some real comfort in the sense of hey, this wasn't your fault, right? She's given him that comfort. She even said, you're just a little boy, you didn't know, right? That's the thing. But it's one thing when it's Tabitha, and it's just okay, she's just, saying stuff. It's another thing when it's coming from the woman that has the memories and emotions and sense of your mother, right? And that kind of impact. Also, worth kind of mentioning also is how does this affect Henry, right? Because Henry always seemed to kind of have, from the moment he saw Tabitha, kind of saying, I talked about this in previous videos, it was almost like she was familiar to him. And that's one of the reasons why I believed it was Eloise, because one, he never really talked and mentioned Eloise. He was never well, what about Eloise? What about my daughter? That's one of the first things you would say. Okay, my wife is dead, my son's alive. Okay, well, what about my daughter? Right? And that was something that was never mentioned. So it made sense. Okay, maybe Tabitha is Eloise. Henry kind of keeps looking at her and talking to her, and like there's this sense when you watch their interactions of like he almost is either A, familiar with her, or B, is like kind of trying to sense, okay, is this her? Like certain things he says, certain things he does, right? For example, when he takes her to Victor and Eloise's room, and he shows her around, it was almost like he's trying to unlock a memory or something. Like he's kind of trying to see, okay, does this look familiar to her? Does this remind her of her? So that's why I thought, okay, well maybe, maybe that he thinks it's Eloise, right? Maybe he's trying to see, okay, is this my daughter, right? Like, and now that we know that, no, it's Miranda reincarnated, okay, now that makes a little more sense why he would have this familiarity, right? Obviously, he didn't know that that was the reincarnated version of his wife, but again, it kind of felt like there was this connection that he kind of like, almost like he knew her before. So how does that have an impact? I don't think it's going to have an impact in the sense of like, Victor or Henry and Tabitha are going to fall in love or anything like that. But I do think in the sense of, again, maybe it gives comfort to Henry, right? Tabitha having memories, maybe she has memories of Henry and has memories of, how in love they were, when Miranda and him were younger, and she can kind of give some comfort, give some guidance, like, hey, like your wife really loved you. Your wife, like it wasn't, because again, like, hey, don't beat up yourself. Don't blame yourself, right? Like she can provide comfort to Henry and Victor in ways that just no one else really can. And I think that could have an impact and a lasting effect because again, Victor is so key to this place and him unlocking his memories. Tabitha may be able to even help him even further. She's been a big part in helping Victor unlock some of the past. But now that she has the memories of Miranda, now she can kind of, fill in some of the blanks, right? Now that she actually remembers, she may be able to kind of fill in some of those memories, fill in some of those points, which I think is very interesting in and of itself as well, right? But I do think that, obviously we had that moment with Victor and Henry said, like your mother loved you, you were a little boy, now it's my job. She just wanted to protect you, right? Really gave comfort to Victor. Said, like, hey, like, no, this isn't your fault, right? Like, you don't know you're a kid. You're in this, house of horrors, right? Like, like no one, an adult wouldn't be able to navigate this, let alone a little boy, a little child, right? So I think that is something that I think, one, he got that kind of confirmation from his father because he was worried. He was like, I'm going to show you, it's going to make you hate me, and then we can be done. But in reality, it was like, no, like if anything, I think it brought them closer together. But I'm sure he still has a heavy heart. And now that you have Miranda in the form of Tabitha, I do think that you can make that connection and kind of help Victor settle in a little better. That makes sense. Kind of, understand that like, hey, no one blames you. It's not your fault. Like, it's okay. You're fine. Right. Like, your mother loved you. Like, I see the memories. I have the emotions. I can sense it. I know how she felt. I know what was going through her mind. She wanted to save you. She wanted to protect you. Right. Like you can have that kind of, again, just kind of give Victor that comfort, give Victor that reassurance of like, hey, don't beat yourself up. Right. Like I think that could be something that's incredibly impactful for both Henry and then especially Victor. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that, yes, this is something that needs to be explored, right? It is something that could really do right by Victor and then Henry kind of really help put him at ease, right? And kind of use the memories and unpack or just, emotions and stuff to really kind of unpack things for Henry. Maybe give Henry some answers, give Victor some answers, right? Because especially if she can kind of tap into that reservoir, tap into that well, and she has kind of the memories, like maybe she can, she can share something that only Henry would know, right? Like, I have her thoughts, I have her memories, I have her emotions, right? We had this time here where we did this, and, and now Henry's like, oh, it really is her, right? Like, you can kind of play into that comfort level, play into that zone. But do you think, no, like it's silly, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't go that route? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know either way down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.